This is the Wharton iGel GE Innovation Water Technology edition of Green is Good here in beautiful downtown San Francisco. We're so honored to have with us today Dr. Vincent Tidwell. He's a distinguished member of the technical staff of the Sandia National Laboratories. Welcome to Green is Good, Doctor.
Thank you, John. Glad to be here.
Vincent, it's so, this is obviously an exciting day here with so many thought leaders like you talking about water, innovation, and technology. Before you and I get to that, though, I just want you to share with our listeners two things. Your journey leading up to your position at Sandia, and then what Sandia actually does.
Sure. Well, I guess my journey to Sandia began in high school, interest in science altogether, and then started in geology as an undergraduate, but from there was kind of hit by economic issues with the decline in the petroleum industry. I had to find something else to do, and that's when I got into water, going to the University of Arizona and on into New Mexico Tech, then later on for advanced degree in water and hydrology. And so I've always just been interested in water, at how it connects and is so important to everything that we do.
So, and how long have you been at Sandia?
25 years.
And what is Sandia? Explain to our viewers and our listeners, what is Sandia National Laboratories?
Sandia National Laboratories is what they call a GOCO, a government-owned, contractor-operated facility for the Department of Energy. And so basically we support the Department of Energy on a wide range of research, initially coming out of developing the nuclear weapons, but beyond that time we've expanded to look at all kinds of energy and environmental issues as well.
And for our listeners and our viewers out there to learn more about what Dr. Vincent Tidwell and his colleagues do at Sandia National Laboratories, please go to www.sandia.gov, www.sandia.gov. Vincent, can you share a little bit about why you're so excited to be here today talking about water, technology, and innovation right here in California? We're close to Silicon Valley. And this seems to be a topic that the media is finally giving a lot of coverage to. What's your interest level here today in terms of what are you going to be sharing when you do your panel later today?
Sure. Well, specifically my interest specifically in water is around energy and the connection between water and energy. And so water or energy is the largest user of water in the United States, even more than agriculture. It also consumes about 12 to 13% of all the electricity or energy use in the United States goes to moving and treating water. And so I'll be talking a little bit specifically about wastewater and the energy use there, and also the opportunities to use the waste products. There's a lot of energy in those, and so actually trying to move that to an energy neutral process.
When we think about innovation and water technologies today, are there some that trump others? So for instance, in terms of turning black water or gray water back to drinkable water versus desalination, is in terms of the energy profiles, which one are more energy efficient? And if you were recommending one to a municipality or to a region, do you have favorites that you recommend because of energy issues? Or how do you factor in all the algorithms in terms of need, energy, and also population bases?
Well, that's a loaded question. There's a lot of issues there. And really, there are two different issues. One would be the primary water supply. That's usually where you would get into desal, right? So looking at removing largely salt from the water. And there are a variety of technologies there having to do with membranes, reverse osmosis, to distillation, basically the way the seawater, how God creates rainwater, right? And turning these into processes that we can use to effectively remove the salt from the water. The big issue there is always energy. Energy is usually the limiting factor there in terms of cost. And so there's a wide variety of opportunities that we're looking at there across the lab complex, but most of them are really looking at reducing that energy burden.
So that's what you're doing. You're factoring in energy and solutions and trying to bring solutions using less energy, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. I know one of the issues, and we're going to be talking about it later today. I just want to give a little teaser to our viewers and listeners out there on Green is Good. I know one of the issues that are near and dear to your heart is thermoelectric power. Can you explain just in brief what that means?
Sure. So about 80% of our current fleet of power plants are thermal power plants. That is, it uses a boiler, it heats up water to steam. Then you have to turn that steam back into liquid water, so you have to cool that water down. So that's the thermoelectric process. Either you're using coal, oil, natural gas to heat that water. Well, to turn that water back, or the steam back down into liquid water, you have cooling towers, or either open loop system where you run basically a river through your condenser to cool the water down. And so either of those processes use a lot of water or consume the water through evaporation to cool the water down. And so and as I mentioned earlier, that cooling process is the largest user of water in the United States.
Gotcha. And we're going to be talking about more about that on the panel today. Innovation, technology, water. We know how bad the problem is. Are you hopeful as we sit here today in 2015? Do the innovations and technologies exist to help us overcome our drought issue here in California, across the United States, and hopefully around the world? And are you feeling hopeful now, given that you have 25 years of great experience behind you, but still a huge future in front of you, and also the knowledge that you have? How are you feeling today in 2015?
Absolutely. In fact, there's one really great example of how technology has really changed the water footprint of energy, and that is in with the lowering cost of natural gas through the hydraulic fracturing and the directional drilling that has opened up whole new reservoirs of natural gas, reducing the price of natural gas, which has made a huge shift in the kinds of power plants that we're building today, as well as the move to a lot of renewables. And so this move to natural gas and renewables to generate more and more electricity has a much, much smaller water footprint than we see with our traditional coal or nuclear. And so that one move there is making a huge change in the way our energy demands for water going into the future are looking. So a lot of other types of technology are out there in the wings that could move us much further ahead in many other areas as well.
But you're feeling hopeful.
Absolutely.
And that's great. I'm glad you came today. I'm glad you shared with our listeners and our viewers a little bit of what you're going to be talking about. Any last or final thoughts today before we sign off this edition of Green is Good?
Well, I'm just glad we're having this dialogue. It's very important. I think the drought here in California is a good rallying issue to be looking at it, but it will be gone hopefully soon, but we can't afford to lose that momentum that we're developing around the issue right now.
Thank you, and thank you for your time today. For our listeners and our viewers out there, to learn more about what Dr. Vincent Tidwell and his colleagues are doing at Sandia National Laboratories, please go to www.sandia.gov. Sandia is Sandia.gov. This is the Green is Good Wharton iGel GE Innovation Technology edition of Green is Good. We're here in beautiful downtown San Francisco. I'm John Shigarian with Dr. Vincent Tidwell. Doctor, you are truly living proof that green is good. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much.